So I'm now in the split of 210-61 and 211-99. 210-61 is quite a bit leafier and taller product than 211-99 is. So we know that 210-61 is just a very pretty corn. Many people call it a landlord corn. It just looks extremely good throughout the season. Very wide leaves, but just a pretty corn to look at. Both these products, we have touted them for having very good stress tolerance and being able to handle good marginal soil types. Here's an ear that was pulled. The cob color of 210-61 is a 5. It is a dark red cob. Grain quality, so depth is just average, but we do have some good wide kernels on this. 210-61 does have quite a bit of flex, probably some of the most ear flex that we have in our lineup, and so we can get quite a bit of girth coming out of 210-61 when it decides to flex that away. So there's some corn that I'm shelling, and you can see, you know, really pretty good kernel size. Good grain quality overall. Is on the mill, has been on the mill list in southern Indiana. Just a quick shot of the root system of 210-61. Go ahead on over here to 211-99. So this cob color is more of a 4, so it's just a true red, not a dark red. Kernels, a little bit smaller than 210-61, but we're actually, I think we're going to have a girthier product here on the average. This ear does not flex quite as much, has been a very consistent product. Has looked the same this year from southern Indiana, wherever I'm at, to northern Indiana, and so not a lot of length, but a lot of 18 and 20s actually, even in the stress that we've seen this year. So the root system of 211-99, very impressive, and I think that is one of the reasons that guys have seen the success that they've seen out of this hybrid, because the roots just do such a great job of getting down into the nutrients and into the water. This product does a great job of getting wide and getting deep. So again, split of 210-61 on the left and 211-99 on the right. 211-99, not quite as good a stay green as 210-61 as you look throughout, pretty close, but 211-99, from what I have seen, it will turn pretty quickly when it does decide to turn in the fall. So take a look at a couple ears here. 210-61 is looking very impressive, so we have excellent tip fill, really good girth, counted mostly 16s, pretty good broad-shouldered kernels on those ears, so pretty impressive plant. Still standing extremely well. Root system is good. If you look at the husk structure of 210-61, it is pretty tightly wrapped. We have a little bit of opening there on the back, but it's going to be more tightly wrapped than we see on 211-99. 211-99, we can look back here, some ears that I did not husk back, but you can see how open they are, and so that is one note that you can put down for 211-99, that it does have quite a bit of open husk, which will also lead to drying down quite a bit quicker than I'd say a normal 111-day does. So here's a shot of some of the 211-99 ears and some of that girth that I was talking about. Tip fill on a couple of those, not quite as good as 210-61, but was still very good. Very consistent product. Again, placement on both of these is, I really like them on those more marginal soil types, and so some of those fields that throw a little bit of everything at us, I've seen 211-99 work very well on sand, and I've also seen 210-61 work pretty well there. Those heavier clays, you know, I think some of those poorly drained areas, 61 doesn't mind wet feet, and neither does 99. So I think we can place both of them very well. But what I do like is just the consistency of 211-99 has proven itself time and time again here so far this year. So I'm now in the split of 212-08 VT3P and 212-17 VT3 Triple Pro. One thing to take note of is that 21208 will be sold as 21209 Smart Stacks next year, and so make sure you take note of that. So first on 21209 Smart Stacks, I'll just call it that for today. So cob color is going to be a 4. It's just a very true red. This is a little bit of an older ear that has been sitting by the sign, but grain quality on 21208 has been extremely good. Really good dark yellow color. Test weight, from what I've seen so far, I think is going to be excellent. Here are the roots of 21209 Smart Stacks, and one thing I'd like to let you notice is the stalk, the girthy stalk that we see on 21208. So very good stalk quality, very large girthy stalk, still very solid. 21208 again, we see in the Smart Stacks and some of these VT3 Triple Pros just doing an excellent job of getting those roots down in the system. Now I'm going to come over here to 21217. Not quite as thick, or grain quality isn't quite as good on 21217, but we do have very good kernel depth. 21217 is going to have a much longer ear, whereas 21209 is going to have a little bit, it's going to have more girth. Cob color on 21217 again is just red. It's a 4. So as you can see, not quite as big as kernels, but we have a lot of them there. Placement between these two, 21217 I'm going to recommend in those top end yield environments. Going to baby it a little bit more, make sure that we're getting the ample nitrogen, and I'm going to say has responded very well to side dress situations, and then even I think can get a kick from a late season nitrogen application. And then 21209, from what we've seen so far, 21208 VT3 Triple Pro is going to stress extremely well and is going to be a pretty good go anywhere product for us. I think it carries enough top end yield potential that we can place it in those high yield environments, but will also but stresses and has a complete enough agronomic package, especially from a disease standpoint, that we can go in some of those more tougher soils. Definitely a good corn on corn option. Field of 21209 Smart Stacks, or 21208 VT3 Triple Pro on my left, and 21217 on my right. Stay green looks, I'm going to give the edge here to 21217. Stay green looks just a little bit better than 21208. Health wise though, I'm going to give that to 21208. So here I've got some ears husked back. You can really kind of see the girth that I was talking about that I think we're going to continue to see from 21208. So kind of what this ear is telling us, that it's really right at about its where it likes to be on population. Just a little bit of tip back that we see there on the tip of the kernel for this. So I have seen it with very good tip fill in many places, and so that tells me that this product really is right at home, kind of at that 35,000 final population stand. I think that we could push it a little more, or even actually drop it some, either way, but I think if we drop it, we're just going to continue to see it put on some more girth. Stalks are still very intact, really some good green in them still. As you look at the husk type, we are still pretty tightly wrapped here on 21208. So 21217, so there again we see that more lengthy, long ear type. So not nearly the girth, you know, a lot of 14s and 16s, but we're putting on that length, and so we are we're getting some extra kick there. I personally, every time we're adding girth and 2 rows around to an ear, we can be looking as much as 20 to 30 bushel increase from adding more rows. The consistency of 21217 in this location is excellent. Had a customer actually here earlier today pull back 20 ears and they all looked identical. So the consistency of 21217 has been very good. One thing I'd like you to notice is the ear height difference between 21208 and 21217. That's one thing that I think a lot of guys are going to like about 21217 is the ear placement of this hybrid and the plant stature. It's not a super tall plant, and then the ear placement is relatively low. And so if that's something that a guy really likes, then this is a good hybrid pick.